Right, you are tuning into another episode of the Vinyl Collective podcast. I'm your co-host John, and I'm joined, as always, every week by the man who enjoys cussing out Frank Ocean at the moment. That's right, it is Top A.
Yeah,
Top A, yeah.
It's another week. So, you know, another day, another guest. And, you know, again, I've done this before, but one thing about John, I know last week I said one thing about John, but another thing about John is, you know, he's a thoughtful man. He thinks of every word he's going to say, and you know, it reflects in the music that he likes. He likes people who, you know, they put their words together, they say what they mean. And I thought, you know what? It's just perfect that I bring another guy who's very thoughtful with his words as well.
Yep.
If not, you know, he's a poet. So I mean, that's just a perfect match. So you already know it's going to be a lot of deep conversations. There's going to be a lot of like dissecting things. So yeah, we're joined today by Ishmael Zach, you know, creator of the Fontaine Theory.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce
Good to have you with us.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Ishmael. I'm Ishmael. Basically, I'm a poet. I'm also a visual artist and a budding photographer. I started writing mainly when I was in secondary school. Actually, I always loved. You know, I was good at English. Wasn't really good at maths or science either. But English I was good at, and I realized that there's so much to express, and sometimes there's so little ways to do it. So I thought like through the written word, I was able to express some things I felt that I had trouble expressing. And from then, it's just been a journey of me kind of going through life, writing more, learning more, and literally taking the things that I've learned with me. So literally, I'm at a space where now I'm writing more. I also added the visual art element to it and the photography element to it, just to help me to kind of project my ideas and to literally express some of these things that I have within me, really. But yeah, that's literally me in a nutshell. I'm open. I love music as well. That's why me and Tope, we kind of go way back.
Way down like 8 years.
We've had many conversations about the music and stuff like that. And,
in UK and abroad.
You know, honestly, you know,
God.
So yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything.
Actually,
man.
no, one question I have for you, innit, just before we get into it, like, where did the name Fontaine Theory came behind? Because I know, obviously, you know, they had the moniker Zach Fontaine, but I was always trying to piece that together, and I couldn't quite piece it together.
I was Googling it to be like, where's the word come from?
Fountain. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Okay.
So it's like, it is French for fountain, and I wanted something that's gonna represent the fact that, you know, something that flows as naturally as water. Something that's something that as pure as water, something that's literally can't be tamed, something that's just natural, really. And that's how I felt that the creativity kind of side of me kind of came. So I said, you know what, Fontaine, you know, and I've been running with the name for a couple of years now. So it was only right, man.
No, that's quite poetic. That's quite sick. Okay.
Not to be corny or anything, but yeah, literally.
So I know, we're gonna get more into the weeds of yourself and your poetry, but this week we have an artist spotlight of Benny the Butcher, and I know you, Ishmael, and even though you know you had the nice little poetics, but I know you like a bit of nitty gritty. So Benny the Butcher, come on, are you a fan?
I'm a fan of Benny.
Have you listened?
I'm a fan of Griselda.
Okay.
I love the way they mesh together.
Their chemistry is crazy.
It's mad. Yeah.
It's
And then,
unreal.
like, two of them are related, right?
They're all related.
They're all related.
Like
Yeah.
cousins.
They're all related. So I think Benny is cousins with Conway, and Conway and Westside are like brothers, like half brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Godly. Yeah, so it's only right, isn't it? All from not even New York City, from Buffalo.
Buffalo,
I don't think I've ever heard another rapper from Buffalo.
You know what it was recently? I think it was even this year. Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
On Undisputed. I remember he was calling out, like, someone said something about like these rappers from Buffalo, and he was like, "Oh, no rappers have ever come from Buffalo." and then he got to like Twitter the next day, and like Griselda popping up like, "Whoa, what's he talking about?"
I remember that.
Yeah.
But it's got a point. Like,
It's funny.
I don't know. Cause obviously, when you think of New York, you never think of all the other, like, obviously New York's a state. It's so easy to forget that if you're not from the United States.
Like, if it's not one of the boroughs.
Yeah, it's not.
no
Yeah,
one-
like you also
yeah.
know Brooklyn, you might even know Staten Island because like Wu-Tang and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no one's thinking about fucking Buffalo, so it's kind of crazy. You got these three guys who've kind of like mastered their craft, and there's no kind of competition really.
It's amazing the way they put it together and the way they mesh together. I said earlier, the styles are different. The way they approach the cadence is different. I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't listened to a lot of like Benny's solo stuff.
Okay.
Because with me, the way West Side Gun, what he does,
Ad-libs.
Yeah, no,
Just the ad-lib. Yeah.
you know,
His ad-libs are
he brings
nothing.
Yeah.
so much to the table, and I guess as a creative myself, because you know, with Westside in particular, he wears so many hats in regards to fashion, in regards to creativity. You've seen like his clothing he puts out. He he executively produces the whole of Griselda's his tape. So he has like he in terms of production, in terms of the way it put together, even down to like the album art.
That's all him.
That's West
wow.
Side Gun. So
Wow,
he plays a
didn't know
very,
that.
very integral
didn't know
part.
that.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's actually
Literally, he's a dope guy.
Because
Trust
I
me.
know a lot of people see him as like the weakest member of Griselda, but I think what he, you know what it is, he's kind of like one of those guys like in football, right? You got those people who are like kind of like a false nine. They're more like a facilitator rather than like they're snapping in goals. And I feel like Westside is that because I feel like if you use him right in a song, like the whole "hey yo," all of that shit, like you use, you know what I mean? Like if you use it correctly, it can actually be like a hit song, like song of the year. But if you use him wrongly, honestly, I think Westside, he's kind of the slowest in terms of finding his footing. But if someone told me in like 5 years' time he's dropped like a Schoolboy QS like classic, I'll believe it. Do you know what I mean? I think he's got it in him. But obviously Benny and Conway are definitely in terms of like lyricism and like cadence and just like saying what they're saying, like they're definitely a lot more far ahead.
I
But
think one thing I'd recommend, a good place to start if you're like new into like Benny the Butcher, would definitely be his Tiny Desk concert he did in the summer. Like at
that's a
home.
good
You
one.
saw it, right?
Okay, I need to. I
I
haven't watched that, you know.
Yeah. He's just sitting on the like sofa at home.
And one
just
thing about
spits
them as
for,
well,
like,
their
15
work
minutes.
rate is insane because
is.
you think last year Benny dropped The Plugs I Met, which again, I know you haven't listened to a lot of Benny, but that's like a really short project. It's like what 27 minutes, like not
I
the
listen to that? No, I don't think I
And the year before that, he dropped Tanner Talk 3, which was amazing. It's got them that amazing song 97 Hove. So if
Oh, no,
you
that's
guys-
not that.
that is a serious banger. So and obviously this year they dropped another one, and obviously now they've all been signed to major labels. So like it's not
Pray for Paris this year.
yeah, for Westside, and obviously Benny dropped Burden of Proof, and obviously Conway's dropped 2. He dropped the one.
Hitler Wears Hermes?
He dropped one with no, that was last year.
Was it?
No, Kanye dropped that one with that producer. I can't remember. It's the one with the shark.
Oh, Lulu. That was Alchemist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with
yeah.
I mean Alchemist as well. God,
Yeah,
his work
his
rate's
work
been
rate is-
insane. Like he might be up there with Hit Boy's producer of the year in my eyes, to be honest, because like Freddie Gibbs, then with Conway, and he's doing all the side projects as well. Like insane artist.
He's
man.
definitely standing the test of time because Alchemist has been around
It's been for so long.
because you know he's produced a lot of the Lox's stuff, Styles P's stuff, like his single projects and stuff like that. The Alchemist is a big problem, man.
And to think like it's a lot. People think it's hard to think of new stuff to talk about. Imagine trying to make a beat that's different to the next like 1,000 you made. Do you know how hard it is?
I can imagine still.
God, that's a different work rate, man. Different work rate. But cool.
Great. Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to the Fontaine Theory. So,
Yes.
like you said, you've been writing poems since like secondary school, right?
Secondary school, bro.
Cool. And one thing I've noticed, obviously, like I check your poems out quite a bit, and I know a lot of them are centered around like where you come from, your family, stuff like that. So, like, I guess one question is like, what does family mean to you?
To me, that's a good question, bro. I think family, particularly during this pandemic as well, family is the glue that holds everything together, really. Even if it's not necessarily blood related, there's friends that fill in the gap of family, and it helps bring things together as a unit once you have family around you. So family is the glue that holds a lot of things together. Family is normally the starting point, you know. That there's something they say about how, you know, your cousins and stuff are like your first kind of friends and all these types of things. And it's like, you know, family is at the basis, and then from things can go wrong from the beginning based on your family, and things can go right. So a lot of it, family is the foundation, I would say, really. But
that's interesting. And I guess a question I have is like, we talked a little bit about, you're into like Griselda, that kind of stuff, but like how does your poetry and your writing inform or like impact upon the type of music you want to listen to, and how do you like, are you kind of like, how do you listen to music? Like, do you enjoy it in the same way we do, or like, are you more critical when you're listening to music?
I think it depends who I'm listening to, really. I was talking to Topic earlier in terms of a lot of my writings informed by like different types of genres. Like, for example, I'm into King Cruel. I'm into a lot of things that a lot of people might not necessarily be kind of into. But I feel like wherever there's words, no matter what the genre is, there's always something to kind of learn from. So it's like that makes it easy for me to kind of bounce between, let's say, like listening to King Cruel and then listening to like an ambient producer or electronic producer like Bonobo. And it's like being able to bounce between the two. It helps kind of give me a well-rounded approach, because the same way that, I'll give you an example. I'm a big King Cruel fan, so I'll probably talk about King Cruel here, but it's like the way in his project, The Ooze, the way he kind of breaks it down in certain songs, and the way he kind of has like an in-depth feel of his life experiences around him, because he's from Southwark, he's from Peckham as well. So it's like it brings a different element to it. And then also being able to then go into like my ambient kind of stuff. I've been listening to Floating Points recently, you probably might see the topic that I put up, because I've got his vinyl for his Shadows EP, and to me it's like one of the best pieces of instrumentation I've ever heard in my life, like honestly. And it's like my ideas kind of flow through the instrumentals as well. So I guess being able to be flexible in what I'm listening to allows me to then inform my readers of my writing, really. But it just depends on my mood, really. But just being able to tap into those different kind of pieces of music, it all kind of inspires me to write. So
I guess from what you just said, it kind of seems like you're very conscious of your environment. So do you feel like your music kind of feels like, okay, I need something that kind of reflects my environment or the environment the person's like kind of living in at that time?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I feel like it's a bit of both, really. I would say that I'm a selfish kind of writer, so it's like a lot of my stuff, I'm trying to bring my world, how I see kind of things, to my wider audience. So a lot of it might be based around my kind of surroundings, but at the same time I also kind of dabble in like fictional kind of poetry where I'll build like some sort of alternate kind of reality and try to bring my storytelling into it. So I guess that's what gives it the balance, really, but that's what really informs it at the moment.
Actually, I have another question. How did you get your mum to write that poem from? Like, did you just say to mum, like, yo, like, mum, that was really sick, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Literally, I think that was during because I did a series on my Instagram on the Fontaine Theory page to do with home, and I went back to one of my old where I used to live in Camberwell, and I got some. I waited till someone opened the block door, and I went inside, right? The ones there, like the proper crook, like. But literally, I managed to get up to the floor I used to live on, and then I got to speak to the person who lives in my old house now. And literally from there, it's kind of like...
That's crazy.
Yeah,
man.
and literally it reminded me of home and what is home to me, the importance of home. So then to end that kind of series, I said, you know what? I wanted to get my mum, who was born in Ghana and came to here when she was 17. I wanted to get her experiences of home. And I wanted it to be in her native tongue. I'm Ghanaian, so it was in Twi. So I wanted her to speak it in a native tongue, just to kind of emphasize the fact that although I was born here, I also have a home in my motherland. Yeah. And it just happened to be that my parents came to this country, and I was conceived here. So I felt like that was an important aspect to bring to my page at the time, especially being, amongst many other people who are children of migrants, and how that kind of shapes your experiences as well. So that was something that I did as part of the home series on my page that I had fun doing. Really,
That is crazy.
Yeah, man,
Don't know,
yeah.
'cause honestly, when you
That's
said that council house thing, like, literally just remind me of like, I think was it this summer? It might have been this summer, or maybe last summer, where I have a little brother, like he's like 10 years younger than me,
Right.
and when I used to live in Bermondsey, and again council hat,
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
go
yeah.
buzz the door
Yeah,
scale,
yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and literally just remind me like, wow, like it is kind of like, it's kind of surreal, kind of going back. When I went back, it's like, bro, like this is kind of where I became me. Like it's really
yeah.
crazy. And
Yeah.
one thing about council flats as well, especially in London, a lot of them just stay the same. So it's literally like, you're not even going back. It's like, oh, everything's changed. Like, it's
Literally.
exactly the same. I think that definitely hits differently. Like,
It
wow.
does,
like,
you know.
Yeah, honestly, I literally like, whoever's living there is living exactly where I used to live. And there's
Probably
something
having the
to it.
similar experiences
Yeah,
as
do you know what I
well,
mean?
you
Similar
know.
experiences. The park is still the same. The car parks, everything's the same. It's like, it's a good and bad thing. Obviously, like, okay, yeah, like, it's familiar. but it's-
Nostalgia, like
yeah, but at the same time, you're like, damn, nothing's changed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
nothing's
no,
changed. Like,
literally.
do you know what I mean? They ain't even put like no little nice stuff, like nothing. Like, it's no, honestly, no. But honestly, that's pretty fucking dope, man. But yeah, man.
yeah.
Go on.
But yeah, let's I guess move on to our kind of main album review today, which is
Cool.
looking at a rapper called Car and his new album Descendants of Cain. Again, I guess a little bit what you were talking about, like going back to your like childhood and roots. I guess this album is definitely like really grounded in like Car's childhood a lot. So yeah, let's start off with like a little introduction to who Car is. Like I got into him kind of maybe at the end of last year.
Okay.
Like a friend of mine, I'm gonna shout him out because otherwise he'll tell me off. a friend of mine, Harry, like introduced
Shout
me
out
to
to
Car.
Harry, man.
Yeah, man. Harry, you've got some good taste.
Yeah. And yeah, just like I guess this is now like Car's 7th album. He's like a native of Brownsville, Brooklyn. I think he's like moved around quite a bit, but like he still lives in New York.
Okay.
He's a firefighter, which like
Yeah, I
came
saw
out in
that.
like a
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, like they did a newspaper like expose on him. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, he's like trashing like New York cops
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
one of his songs.
I read that actually.
Found out he was a firefighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a Brownsville native. He kind of started doing rap in the 90s. I think he was in a group called Natural Elements.
Yeah.
I think he said himself in like interviews that he thought like he was the weakest member of the group, which is mad to think when you listen to his music now.
Crazy,
Yeah.
innit?
But like, yeah, he just didn't think he had it back then.
Self-confidence is real, man. You need
is.
honestly.
No,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Imagine someone telling me car shit. Like, imagine someone telling car shit. He's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Like, imagine, like, you know what, you're kind of right. I just stopped doing it. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nah, it's
oh, mental, isn't it? Mental.
Wild.
God.
Yeah, so I think he must have had like a decade off because then his first project like drops in 2008, like Ironworks, and he like comes onto a GZA album in 2008. And then yeah, this is his like 5th album under his actual name. Like he's had a couple of like side projects.
Okay.
Don't know if you guys have listened to them. He had one like with one of the producers he works with. It was called Hermit. Their like name is Hermit and the Recluse, and that
Oh, I've
album's
heard of it actually.
Orpheus versus the Sirens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like Greek mythology.
So dope.
Yeah,
So-
he
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he definitely
Conceptual
loves
guy,
his, like
like-
his fables and stories
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
incorporates the albums.
I love that because like even his previous albums, like Knight's Gambit, like is based around like chess and like tactician stuff, and
Yeah.
then he had like On the Kill
Kill
the Samurai.
Yeah,
It's wild. It's wild.
yeah, that is very
Oh,
conceptual.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess this one, Descendants of Cain. Like, let's get some like first impressions. Like,
Yeah,
you
what was your
guys
first impressions
thought of
like
it?
kind
Yeah.
of listening to it?
You
I know
know-
you put it on your Instagram. So
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, like
yeah.
this
Yeah,
guy's a
yeah,
big fan.
yeah. Nah, literally, my first impression, even from the title alone, it was interesting to see because it draws on so many different parallels. The descendants of Cain. Who are the descendants of Cain? Obviously, it brings me back to obviously the story in Genesis in the Bible in regards to Cain and Abel. You know how Abel gave an offering that was acceptable to God, whereas Cain, you know, he came and gave something that wasn't acceptable, and you know he then killed Abel, and then it's like the whole idea and whole kind of concept in regards to the punishments that was then given to Cain, and it's like being, you know, the people in which are actually living through those punishments. That theme as well is explored by Kendrick as well in regards to in Damn as well, in terms of you know, there's a I won't say denomination, but there's like a sect within Christianity of people is predominantly being like black people who believe that they're the true Israelites.
Oh yeah. Okay,
so there is a running theme among here in regards to especially if you look at the Old Testament, because he does reference the Old Testament quite a lot, even in the samples, in the little snippets. Like 50s, 60s radio kind of thing of like, and he'll be doing that with particular Bible passages and stuff like that, and it does have a strong biblical reference to it in regards to the curses that were put onto Cain. And black people being the descendants of Cain, as to why we're, you know, it seems as though that, you know, there's you know, black people, you know, killing each other and all these types of things, you know what I mean? So it is a kind of it's a heavy topic, and I was interested to see his approach towards it, and how it parallels with what's going on today, and the biblical story really. So I thought it was quite. I saw the name. I said, "Yeah, I need to listen to this, man."
Do you think
that was my introduction?
Do you think there's
as well.
something to it? Like, do you think like, as a black man, whether in this country or in other countries, do you feel like we are kind of paying for the sins of like our ancestors in a sense?
I do feel as though we're carrying on in regards to a lot of what we see today. We're carrying on a lot of trauma. Carrying on a lot of pain, the idea of being misunderstood for centuries really, and the way it kind of manifests in today's society is different from how it would have done hundreds of years ago. So I do feel as though that there is an element of like a of transgenerational trauma, of transgenerational being misunderstood in so many different areas, and then even in the things that we do want to express ourselves through, like creative arts, particularly being through rap and stuff like that, then you know you would have the censorship in terms of trying to censor our voices, and there's definitely an element to it really.
Funny enough, because obviously like the first censorship on a record, was it NWA, wasn't it? That
Must have
that had the advisory on the album that never existed before. Again, a group of black guys were like, "Fuck the police," kind of thing.
Literally.
So no, I kind of agree with you now. And obviously, Car explores all these type of themes on this record. So I guess we can start anywhere really, but I think one place I want to start, and I made note of this because I thought it was like
go for it.
proper sick. So
Before you, why he's looking for this?
Go ahead.
Like what you're talking about, I guess there was a quote from the second song, like "Unto the Dust," where he says, "Descended from baddest slaves, barricades only aggravate us." But that was I don't know, disappointing quote.
I got it.
You got
so it was on Patron Saints, right? What was he talking about? All the people, basically like the people you looked up to were the people doing like the bad shit in the city. Like, do you know what I mean? Our heroes sold heroin. You know, our
Sir Lancelot sort of round tables,
cutting apes round age. I mean, like doing all of that. And he has this line where he's like, "Nothing blessed. Even the bonds of friends are tested. Would you surrender if you did it but your man's arrested?" And reason why I bring that up, you know, I'm going to bring it full circle, because you also wrote a poem on this, Jaws, where you teamed up with Art Boogie.
Art Boogie,
And I guess, it would be good to kind of get your perspective on like, what, like, is that something that kind of resonated with you at the time? Like, what do you kind of think of that whole it's kind of like an unspoken rule, like obviously someone does something.
No snitching.
Yeah, don't snitching. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like, he's asking like, what are you gonna tell? And obviously later on in the album, he does kind of give respect to people who don't tell. But obviously you don't, anyone thinks the same. But what is kind of your take?
You know what it is? There's another line as well. I forgot the song it was, but it's within the album. He alludes to, and he says that, you know, if you saw who did it and chopped with the cops, the whole hood's disgusting.
Yeah, the whole hood's disgusting. Yeah, that was like the first song, I think. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it does represent a truth that people live by, and it does carry weight, because there's people that have been murdered over this unwritten rule. You
Yeah.
get me? So it carries a lot of weight to those who live within that atmosphere, who live within that world, you know? So it does play a huge part in his sound and his music.
Yeah.
And especially if you're somebody who's come from that, you know, environment, and if you're somebody who understands that, you know what, there's no snitching, then it's like he's just living his reality, really.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
I do understand that, you know, not everyone has to ascribe to that, really. I mean, there's people that grew up in that environment, but then it's like, fam, they pay taxes. Like, like why wouldn't they, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? If someone's done something to them, why wouldn't they go and, you know, report to the police? But then you got other people who have literally, who that's their lifestyle. That's what they've kind of grown up with, and that's what they've ascribed to. They've chosen that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to abide by the rules, really.
So yeah, it seems like when you said that, like, you're gonna have to do it. Like, that's something you kind of like, not, they kind of subscribe to. Like, you kind of be like, yeah, if I'm on the roads, then I shouldn't snitch. That's something you believe.
Well, if you're on the roads, you shouldn't be snitching, bro. Like, you know, you know, if you've made the decision to live that life, then you have to abide by the rules, because there's repercussions for it, you know.
No, I agree. Like, I mean, you can't be playing dirty games and trying to get away with, you know, minimum, like, maximum rewards when taking the minimum risk, really. So no, 100% agree with that. Like, do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people as well, like, it's a simple question that you kind of pose out, but like even when you said it, like, there's people, like, there's a lot of ways that officers try to kind of persuade people into even saying things that aren't true. Obviously, we saw that Netflix documentary, The Hate You Give. That's the one. Do you know what I mean? So where they had to convince people to say things they didn't even do.
Yeah.
Let alone the things they actually did do. Do you know what I mean? So
the game's crooked.
But obviously, no one looks at that. Obviously, when you're in this game, it's more than just the drugs you sell or the people you shoot. Like, it's more like, raw, can you actually keep up shit in?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
no,
Like,
facts, bro.
because these officers doing it for decades. Like, they know what they're doing. Fam, you're not the hardest guy they've dealt with. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be careful with the type of people, the type of things you say when you're in these rooms, the type of conversations you have. And I feel like when you kind of don't slip, and even not in that, I feel like a lot of people subscribe to it as well. Like, even if, for example, let's say me and Ishmael have a fallout, right? And you saw it and you don't say nothing. It's like, oh, you know what? Nothing happened. It's cool. There's still respect given to people like that, because I'm like, oh, you know what? Some shit happened. You didn't run your mouth. And I feel like people, even to like a lower like level, still hold on to that. And it's just about integrity, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Streets integrity.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Streets integrity. But no, I definitely kind of like agree with that. It's like, yeah, like, you know, you can't be out here in the fields with me, and then like when the fire's getting hot, you're like, you're leaving me. Nah, I can't respect that.
Honestly.
So honest.
Yeah, I think before we get into like some of our favorite songs and stuff, like, I think a good point would be to like maybe take a couple minutes to look at like delivery and like production. What you guys thought about, even if you haven't listened to like previous albums of his, like, what did you think of like the production on this?
I think the production, it really, the way it was done, in terms of it being, is consistent across the whole album. Maybe I Love near the end is a bit more upbeat. I love that. I love the transition.
So
because
good,
in the midst of all of that underworld activity, there's still a heart somewhere. There's still a heart, and then family, as you said in the beginning, family is still the glue. For Car, you know. But literally, to answer John's question, in terms of the production, it's very stripped. It's very laid bare in terms of the production, and you could see and you can hear it by you know, there's minimal drums. There's minimal drumming. That reminds me of Jay Electronica's Jay Electronica's album, in terms of, he has certain songs in there that literally there's either zero to like nothing, like in terms of the drum pattern. But literally, I loved the fact that from a production standpoint, it was stripped down, because he's saying so much and there's so much to take in that, you know, if it was even more than how it was, so much more things will fly over your head.
As it is, you've got to listen to it like 5, 10, 15 times to even get what he's saying.
Honestly, you know, and it's like,
so it complements him.
It
so
does,
well.
you know, especially
So well.
I love the fact that, you know, a lot of the beats, even from a production standpoint, they're not as complicated as other pieces of music.
It's true. Yeah.
Some songs literally have just like an 8-bar loop just repeating,
legit. Yeah,
and he's just spazzing out.
yeah,
on it.
just
Like,
going, yeah, just going. That's the thing as well. Like, I feel like lyricists have to pay that price. Where it's like the thing. I feel like Nas, he's the biggest kind of sacrifice in hip hop for it, because he's not full on lyrical miracle like Doom or anything, but he's not, you know, just rapping in like cadence like DMX. So he's kind of in the middle where it's like, fuck, what beat do I actually rap on? Like, I think it's no surprise that everyone says Nas always had bad beats, because what is he meant to rap on? Like, you know what I mean? Because people want to hear what he's saying, but people want the song to sound nice as well, because he's got that street like voice to him as well. But one thing I was gonna say as well, because I know you put some songs behind your poems, like, what is your thought process kind of going behind putting a song behind like a poem? Like, what do you kind of look for? Because I feel like it's similar to what probably Carl would look for, in terms of like, you want people to focus on what you're saying, not what you're hearing, and like in terms of beats. So yeah, how do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a good question, bro. In terms of putting music behind my words, I tend to go for something. So I'll probably listen to the because it's mainly instrumentals, and I'll listen to it and really just take in what kind of atmosphere is made around me when I listen to this type of song. And then if it pairs with what I'm trying to convey, then it's like it fits like a glove. Do you know what I mean? So I tend to look at, you know, if it's something upbeat or whatnot, then I'll tend to go for something that has, you know, maybe, you know, a more livelier drum pattern, or just go for something that kind of reflects what I'm talking about. But with me and a lot of my stuff, I resonate with Carl, because I love to be introspective. I love to really, you know, that's my way of putting out my work, and to me it comes at therapy sometimes, you know what I mean?
Really
so
is,
I love to bring that, and I think that kind of reflects in my instrumental choice, really. But yeah, I kind of, that's why I resonate so much with the album, because that stripped down kind of thing, and just allowing people to understand what you're saying and the depth of what you're saying. You know, sometimes you don't want to overcrowd the music, you don't want to overcrowd what you're saying with, like, production could be amazing, but then sometimes it might not necessarily fit to what the subject matter is, and you don't want to ruin the atmosphere with a production that is sonically sounds amazing, but then it's not cohesive with what you're trying to portray. So that's kind of my approach, really.
I think that's definitely true to, like, so in this album, like, I know we're saying a lot of the music stripped down, but like I'd say the most stripped down song is Old Justice. Like, there's literally, like, I mean, isn't it just like like a few voices that he's like mixed perfectly, and like they're kind of wailing, and like a little bit like angelic celestial in the background. And that's when he kind of gets to like his most vulnerable. There are like a few lines throughout the album where it's just like, he says a phrase and it's just like, we was living in the living room, and that's how he starts the song. And it's so stripped back.
Why did that hit me so hard? He's definitely,
he just like shocks you with those lines. Like the one you said earlier, like, our heroes sold heroin. Like, he almost ends the song on that, and you're like, wow. Take a step back.
And when you said it, like, just kind of like in the defeat is actually like, damn, like, that's literally what happened.
There's one particular line. Sorry, bro.
No, go ahead.
There's one particular line I forgot. Sorry, I don't remember the exact structure of the album, but there's a line he said in terms of like, our heroes bust guns repeated, and our caregivers store everything we needed.
I've got it here.
You've got it there, Listen,
our peacekeepers bust their gun repeated. Our caregivers stole everything we needed.
You see that line,
Honestly.
That line,
Tell me about it, man.
Coming, you know, if.
How's that make you feel? You can tell it's sitting with you.
Yeah, because, you know, being in an environment, where, because I can imagine the type of picture he's painting, you know, he's coming from an environment where literally, if his caregivers didn't steal on certain days, nobody in the household is eating. And when you come from an environment like that, it's like, why wouldn't he be saying the things?
Honestly, like, it's just,
someone might even argue that that's all he could express at this moment of time, because that type of pain, he's a big adult, but to be able to still draw parallels with those things, it's not something that leaves you when you grow up that way. So, you know, it's just like it's shocking.
no, honestly, it's like
It's shocking.
because the thing you definitely know that's something that's happened more than once. So, like you definitely, you know, that's definitely happened more than once. It's like it's kind of weird because like it kind of reminds me of the stuff that we're dealing with right now when you know obviously Marcus Rashford trying to save the country in a sense. So it's like, yeah, I think people forget like it's a real decision people have to make. But it's like raw like. If I have to get to a point where, like, to me, if you remember, that's me, because remember, he's kind of talking from when he was younger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he remembers, he's taking it like, raw, my mum's stealing. Like, to me, he's processed that.
He's processing
He's
it.
processed that, but he also processed that he's stealing to help me. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Because also, when you're young, you're kind of told, this is good, this is bad. He ain't to say, oh, my mum's doing a bad thing, she's just a thief. Like, bro, my mum's a savior, my mum's a caregiver. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of us, especially from council housing, can definitely relate to that. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's either we eat tonight or we get kicked out of the house. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the two choices you have. So you want to do both. So what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? And just being surprised and being like, you know, like they did what they have to do. It's like, yeah, just mean to have that like foresight at such a young age and kind of for that to stick with you as long as, obviously like what, 40s now? Like for that to stick with you as long as it did, like you can definitely tell like that's like a big part of his childhood.
It's interesting because it also coincides with a line. And he spoke about how him and I think his cousin, he had an argument with his cousin, and
he's gonna shoot up.
He almost killed his cousin. And it's like you see stuff like that. I find that so interesting because when you know, I did kind of find it funny because it's like growing up, you have arguments with your cousin and stuff like that. But then
almost blacked out, was about to leave him in a box.
Exactly, like you know, and it's like it made me think. It made me think about, you know, when stuff like that's happening, when your caregivers are stealing, you know, at that young age and you have so much to process amongst like your surroundings, you know, how it manifests, you know, how it manifests out of a young person. And you can even reflect it with how, you know, young people today, particularly from those environments, that Kai is talking about, how it manifests and sometimes it's the anger and then sometimes it's the frustration and sometimes it's like, you know what, you know, is the system really built for me, or do the government really care and stuff like that? You know, some young people are not given the forum to express these types of things. So it's like the way it manifests out, sometimes it might be violent, but amongst all of it is a confusion, really.
Yeah, no.
Because it's like, honestly, hearing that is like, it's okay to have an argument with your cousin, but then to take it to the point where, like, it could have got could have got nasty. Yeah. You know, you can tell he's a lot, you know. I felt like through lines like that, this album, it kind of serves as like as a contribution to his healing process, really.
Honestly.
Because there's what he's talking about, as I said earlier, this type of stuff doesn't leave you. You know, honestly, and you just find ways to just navigate around it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and I think it adds to the whole Descendants of Cain kind of theme as well. Where it's like, damn, like we're blood. I'm thinking of killing you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people get the whole Jay-Z shot his brother thing, but I feel like this one's a lot more darker. Where it's like, obviously he shot his brother by accident, fair enough, but his brother made him black out. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I wake up from, imagine that, you're actually just at your cousin's house, he's knocked you the fuck out, and you're thinking, maybe your other cousins are around thinking, damn, that's a violation, I don't want to be the cousin that gets picked on. So you think, I've got to burst him. Like, what type of environment you have to be where you feel like, because also he spoke on another song where it's like, you know, a body for a tooth. Like, it's not like it's a tooth for a tooth, it's like, we're going to kill you if you violate. So it's like, imagine being in that environment, it's like, no, if you violate, I have to kill you, fam. Even something like cousin, like, oh man, like it's just insane. It's just insane to think about. And he even said like it hasn't been the same since. Yeah, we know like it's still been rocky. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like literally, you're right. This doesn't.
It just reminds me of, you know, when Kanye West is just cussing out the cousin who's
no, legit. I'm fine if you steal my laptop. I don't care. I'm never getting over that.
The anger's still. The anger is just.
Cause just remember, like, obviously when maybe like your mum dropped you off and everyone, and you know the aunties was chilling, fam. Your can't just stole your laptop. And you're like, oh, you know that's your cousin. Like, you know, he's like, what? He stole my laptop. What are you talking about? Like, come on, man. I want that back. Like, I saved up all summer for that. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Did mad shifts at Waitrose for that. Like, come on,
Hey,
give that
bro,
back.
the night
You know
shift.
what I mean? Do you know what I mean? The night shift at Waitrose. Like, no, man, I want that back, fam. But, oh, man.
Yeah, I think that. Oh, go on.
No, there was another song. There was another song where he was like, it was My Brother's Keeper, where he's like, don't confide in the Delilah. You know
Yes.
she want the main cut. And again, I'm not a Christian, right? So when I hear these, I'm like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, that's me about Carl. You always have to ask, what does he mean? And obviously knowing that whole, Delilah cut his hair, Samson's hair, because obviously saw his power. It's like, fucking hell. That is an amazing line.
Yeah.
Like,
It
do you know what I
is.
mean? Like,
Yeah, I
you
think
got
the
to be really.
references throughout this, like to so like I grew up in like a Christian household, so like all of these references, like, oh yeah, from this.
Yeah.
And I think like just the references throughout. So like the one like Solitude of Enoch, the one you quoted from, where he's like gonna leave his cousin in a box.
Yeah.
Like Enoch's Cain's son.
Yeah.
And obviously the whole album is about like inherited like like violence is cyclical, and it feels I guess to me it feels a little bit like the original sin kind of thing, like Adam and Eve, like everybody, like kind of God when he talked to Adam and Eve after they'd sinned, he was like gave them certain punishments. Like man will always like labor in the fields, like women will experience pain in childbirth, things like that. And it just feels like again from this one that the violence, there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's just something that they're all going to live with because of that sin that he's inherited.
And it's saying, because it seems like he kind of just accepted that as well. It's like he never talks about, this is something that shouldn't have happened. He just kind of talks like this is just stuff that did happen. You know what I mean? He never
Because it happened before him.
it happened before him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's why the title was so perfect because I know a lot of people, like for example, like the Kendricks as well, you brought up, like a lot of them tried to bring a solution to these things. But I don't think he even tried to bring the solutions to these things.
No.
I think he just kind of said like, even said, I ain't that creative. I lived this stuff where it's like, this is what happens. And I think he, if I had to ask him, he'd probably be like, this is probably gonna happen many generations after me. Like, it's just what it is. And I don't know what I was trying to make, but it's just kind of like, it's really just like, damn, like, that definitely does like kind of hit a different way. Whereas a lot of artists kind of be like, we all need to get along, or we all need to love one another. But I remember now, like you say, it's pretty much inevitable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is inevitable. Like, and I remember I was reading a book about this where it's like, humans will always try to find a difference between one another. If it's not race, it'll be the color of our hair. If it's not the color of our hair, it'll be our height. Like, because there's always going to be an in group and an out group. We want to feel better than the next person, and because of that, it's going to cause like a rift between those two groups. Do you know what I mean? Who knows what's going to be like 1,000 years from now? Maybe people with brown eyes are superior than people with blue eyes. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And from that, there's always going to be a cause of suffering because humans want to be superior.
They want to differentiate themselves.
Do you know what I mean? That's literally what it is. It's literally what it is. So, it's crazy, man.
I guess we could like maybe pick like 2 songs each or something that like really, I don't know, we really engage with, and then just talk about them a little bit. I don't know if you want to start.
Cool. I'll go with is it Patron?
Yeah, Patron Saints.
Patron.
Yeah.
I wish I had some Patron. Oh, it's been a while.
Patron Saints. But I'll go with Patron Saints, and my other song I think I mentioned earlier is I Love as well.
That song almost made me cry when I heard
It's really
literally like when I start with I Love first is like when he's talking about how how his mom she picks him up when he was ruined and fixed him. All these is a lot that I could relate to, and it just goes back to what you were saying about family, really, and then as for Patron Saints, he was talking a lot still. He said like there's like a couple lines in the same rhyme scheme, where he was given like the examples of people that are held like exemplary in the world. He's talking about like our yogis did stretches upstate.
Exactly. And obviously yogis stretching. Oh god.
Everything has 2-3 meanings.
And it's like. Then he's like, our Sir Lancelots were around tables
cutting apes,
and it's like you see that, it just you see it reminded me of how it's like like when you're younger a lot, or when you're coming from these types of environments, and it's like you look to the older lot,
Yeah,
the
your
oldest.
parents or so.
You look to the elders, like who might be on your council block, on your block or whatever, and it's like, you know, the person who can do the most heinous things gets the most respect, and it's like you're looking at them in awe, like you're looking at them and thinking, like, you know, I want to be like that.
No,
guy,
honestly,
you know?
but the thing is, there's always like a duality to them, man. Because sometimes I always say this: the nicest guys are the most like
vicious
road men. Do you know what I mean? Because because there is a sense of caring to them. But I think when, like, to link back to what you said, because sometimes for some of them it's like, no, they actually are like good people where they feel like they have to do this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's so softly spoken. He's so like, you know, it's like well chilled out, like wise guy. But actually,
like honestly, it's not. It just goes to show like not all people who do bad things aren't all bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's something that people need to kind of internalize more. Like, I might sell drugs and all of that, but that doesn't mean like I wish the worst thing on everyone around me. No, that's not the case. And even just go back to the song, the last song I love. You know when he's talking about his wife and he's saying that what's it called? He helped him learn how to read or some shit like that.
In myself out or something.
So you're telling me Carl didn't know how to fucking read? Are you taking the piss? What? No. He has to be trolling on that one.
He said, was it the one that used to hardly spell, now he's held with
no. I don't believe that. Carl, I know Carl's not listening to this, but
he might maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, no. To read, look at who he is right now. You tell me someone told me how to fucking put words together. No way.
You know what that, you know, it points to the endless possibilities of this life, man.
Honestly.
Like, if that is straight facts, if that is straight facts, then you could do anything in this world that you put your mind to. Honestly, like, honestly speaking,
mate. Like, imagine your wife teach you how to play like bloody football and you come eating right. Like that's what it sounds like. Like what are you talking about? Like I'm 25, I'm too old for this shit. You know, I'm not gonna be the next Jamie Vardy, am I? Like, but no, insane, man, insane.
That song though, I love is it's amazing. I don't even know who the sample's from. I remember trying to look it up a few times.
I don't know.
I didn't look at the samples
because the song is such like, as you said earlier, it's so different from the rest of it. Like it's such an antithesis to the rest of the album. Because like the whole of the album is about like, I guess him maybe being like isolated from a lot of things. Like he's out there for himself. Like he has to look after himself. And there's like that, what is it, that phrase, like no man is an island. And like literally the last song is like confirming that like he does have a bit of family. Like he does have a few people around him. And it's
no, I'll add my 2 songs. I think Onto the Dust for the amazing song, because he's talking about people when people go to prison and they find a new religion and they're like, what's it called? Peace be with you, alaikum salam. Make sure that peace would be with you. Lace in your palm. And it's so true, because especially the people like I grew up around with, like a lot of them, like they did a bit in prison and then they come back and it's like, you need to take the word of like Allah seriously, and it's like, bro, like what happened to you? Do you know what I mean? Like, but it is like that. Like sometimes you just have to find that like solitude, especially when you're in the bin. Like obviously, Lord knows what's that like, depending on the type of crime you did as well. I think my second song I'm gonna go with is I like Land of Nod, because it kind of just,
that's a good song, you know.
Go for it,
because he's describing where he lives, and obviously I know everyone here is Christian, and like you know about Land of Nod, like it's basically like a violent like kind of wasteland in a sense, and he's kind of describing his hometown like that. And I feel like especially the places I've grew up in, I've kind of in a way seen it like that. Maybe not more in recent times, but definitely like, oh, like there's always someone doing this, or there's always someone doing that, or you know, anything like, for example, let's say I was looking for trouble, I'd know where to find it because it always existed in the places I grew up in. And I feel like that's kind of what he's kind of saying there, maybe in a more extreme sense of a car, but I think that's the 2 songs that kind of start with me.
I think I don't know, maybe I'm really into it, but like I think Land of Nod's like probably one of the only songs in the album where he actually like changes up his flow a bit. Like I don't know, if you like re-listen again, like the second half of it, I think he like changes his flow, which he doesn't really do much. I don't know.
Actually, wait, quick
yeah, go on.
discussion. Actually, what do you think of the one feature he had in his album,
Rock Marciano?
Come on, yeah, I know you're a fan. I know you're a fan.
It's going to be someone. It's going to be Rock.
Yeah, of course it has to be Rock, man. Yeah.
He works with like 2 producers, like Animos and DJ Preservation, and then there's Rock.
Then like
Yeah.
Rock
He's the
Marciano.
only guy.
They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
They're
Yeah.
cut. They're
Same
cut.
breed. Same breed.
Yeah.
Nah, his verse was hard though. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it was
If
good.
there's gonna be a feature, it would have been Rock.
Yeah, it
still.
had to be
I'm not
Rock,
gonna lie,
man.
because they both carry. I feel like whereas Rock is more animated, in terms of his subject matters and stuff like that. If you listen to his project stuff like that, you know, he's more blasé with it.
Yeah.
Whereas Kai is more.
Yeah.
He's not really saying that Rock is into the gimmicks, but he's
There's bits of like braggadocio there as well.
yeah, like, but then that's why I love listening to Rock as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm hearing when you're hearing the realness of what Car's saying too much, I'm thinking, you know what, I need to hear the.
Yeah, it's too heavy. Yeah, honestly,
Too much.
yeah.
Like, it's too much. You left, right, and center. I need to hear about, you know, the gold chain.
Yeah, honestly, he's got the hole. Like, where's the hole? Like, I'm selling bare drugs.
You know,
Where's the hole?
life is about balance, you know.
Yeah, honestly. No, good
Yeah.
feature. Wait, what's your
Great
2
feature.
songs, John?
My 2 songs. I think Sins of My Father
Okay.
has to
That's
be
a
one of
good
them. I think, there's so many quotables from it, but like, there's ones like where he's like, you know, my stock only as good as my ingredients. So he's like, you know, the whole idea of like inheritance and like genealogy, like there's no way out of this. Like he was literally built to do this. Like, like there's no escape. His father did it. Like his father did it. So of course he's going to be living this life. And then I think there was a line something like, from the pen still pain for like the sins of my father, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think this one again, just like we were saying earlier, like Adam's sins meant that all of his, like all of mankind and womankind would be cursed. So I think this song really got to me. Another song.
I know, fucking love
There's
this
so
record,
many.
innit?
There's
Yeah.
so many.
Nah, it's a good record.
It's a good
record,
I'm not
man.
gonna lie.
Maybe the Eye of the Needle, just for like the production.
I like that.
I think
Oh yeah,
that's,
the
like,
beat switch was
the
that was
most
beautiful.
complex beat
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
for sure. Where he's like this. I guess I found this one interesting because, like, when you're thinking about Kai, like, how do you talk about him? Like, what kind of music does he make? And then he's like, the style Carter is highbrow gutter.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah, literally it is.
Okay, right. There we go.
Yeah.
Like, that's the music he makes. I guess he's like talking about. So like that in itself is like a juxtaposition, isn't it? Like highbrow gutter, and that's just like the very, I don't know, like the very folk. Oh, just not the headlines. The very fulcrum of like what he does. Like he talks about sketchy situations, but like in an intellectual way.
Right.
Like he uses so many like literary devices.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean, you'll pick up on all of this, but like all of the like double entendres, the like alliteration, even his like cadence and all of that kind of stuff.
It's all intentional. The
Yeah,
way he
yeah,
does it as well.
yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man. He's very talented. Very
yeah.
talented guy.
Very talented guy, man.
Or what's the line like? Those full of hustle would pull a muscle or do a stretch. And again, the muscle, like the double entendre and that, yeah.
No, it's definitely an album. You need to go to genius.com, put that up, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like definitely get, because they haven't even fully annotated yet because there's so many ones that are just gonna go off your heads. I think it's one of those albums that, you know, if you had the patience for it, it'll definitely sit for you for years to come. I appreciate albums like that. Like I don't like chewing gum albums. Like in and out, in and out. I mean, like I like albums like, oh, like damn, 5 years time. Oh shit, that's what he's talking about. Like, and I feel like you definitely get this one.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of like beats and production as well, I feel like this is probably his best one yet. Where it's like it's not super accessible, but it's enough. It's
enough.
just
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
And I feel like even if you're not into the whole, you know, lyrical miracles, you might be able to appreciate this one. So yeah, I'll definitely get this one.
What would you guys take from that song in particular? Like, what does it mean to you? Like, Eye of the Needle, in terms of like the overall like Descendants of Cain metaphor, like Eye of the Needle, because I never really like got it.
I think he
that
meant
much.
like, obviously, I correct me if I'm wrong in it. Obviously, not a Christian man, but it's like, obviously, was it? It's
A
like,
richer man.
It's easier to for
for a man to go through the eye, it means to get to heaven or something like that, innit? Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he's talking about like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
because I know he was talking about in the song, like basically trying to get it by any means necessary. So I think he's kind of relating to that, where it's like, no matter how, like, do you know what I mean? Like he's gonna go through the eye of a needle to try and get what he needs to get going. So that's kind of how I perceive that.
Yeah, nah, that's probably where I was coming from as well in terms of the eye of a needle, and it's like literally, you know, because I think the scripture is talking about how, you know, it's easier for a man to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's like literally, it's just bringing us the story in regards to, you know, being in the hood, and then riches, the idea of, you know what, this guy has like 100 bags in his mattress. To the whole hood, he's rich. But then it's like, to the wider society, that's just chicken change. That stuff could be that could get repossessed by one kick in the door. But either your enemy or the police. So it's like, is that really riches? You know, but it's like kind of going back to what Top is saying, like regardless of that risk, you know, he's got to be the person to get through the eye of the needle, because he needs to get it regardless. You know what I mean? So it's a strong topic, you know.
Very strong topic, man.
Yeah. I think, like, before we, I guess, I know I've listened to like some reviews. I think some people I've talked to as well have thought that, like, in comparison with like other albums, this like analogy metaphor like doesn't carry through as strongly. Like, do you guys feel that?
No, I think it carries quite strongly.
And I also think that it's like it does carry through strongly, but at the same time, there's enough space for him not to be constantly hitting you with like biblical quotes and stuff. Like, I feel like maybe he's done that with like the Greek mythology. Like, it was a bit heavy sometimes, but with this one, he just kind of like weaves it in. Like, he just laces bits here and there. I don't know.
No, I agree, because even there's some tracks where he won't really allude to anything biblical. You'll only have that little sample in the beginning of someone reading a passage, and then the rest of it is him bringing that to his reality. So I do agree with you, John, that it definitely gives people space to kind of breathe. It's not too in your face with the references, because it needs to be accessible, really. Not everyone is a Christian.
And he's got to make money off the fucking record, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's got to get people to listen to it.
Trust
me. But I think that kind of closes out this episode. It's been a really good episode. I've really enjoyed this one, man.
I've enjoyed it.
Honestly, thank you for having us, man.
Hey, thank you for letting me come, man.
Honestly,
chopping it up with you guys.
Honestly, like, definitely, it's a lot of insight. I mean, like I told you guys, like, it's gonna be a lot of insight, but honestly, I really appreciate you coming there. So, like,
thanks for having me, guys.
We have every week we had the Now and Then playlist. We put something on every now and then.
Okay.
You know what? You already know how it goes. I know you're listening to the show. So obviously one song that's kind of more current, and obviously one song that could be a throwback. Yeah, let's start with you.
Okay. Right now I'm kind of in my underground kind of alternative bag, especially in London as well.
Okay,
there's a song by I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's a guy called Oscar World Peace.
Okay, I haven't heard.
I don't know,
but that he's really dope. He's just released his album, and there's a song called Shine.
Okay.
It is very, very dope. He's such a great artist and stuff.
Cool,
So that's my kind of recent song, and one that's kind of older. There's no lyrics to it, but is Terrace Martin's the one. You see that guy musically,
different, different guy.
But is from, I forgot. It's from his album. I think it's Violet something. But yeah, it's from one of his albums. Basically, he reworked Mortal Man. He reworked Mortal Man, and he played all the instruments in it, and it's about 9 minutes long.
Jeez,
and
it
would take you, John, to a different planet. But what he's doing with the instruments and the angle that he came to the instrumental with, it just shows his level of musicality. So it's Terrace Martin, Mortal Man. It's his name.
Add that to the playlist, John. You sold me. No, that's not fucking.
So that's my two guys.
Love it.
No, go ahead, John.
Me? Okay. A new song is going to be "Look Over Your Shoulder," the new one with Busta Rhymes, Kendrick Lamar. Busta Rhymes just released a new album, like a new proper studio album.
I've heard of it. I haven't listened.
And the new Kendrick song. He just, I don't know.
Kendrick's got a new song. Kendrick's got a new song
on Busta Rhymes.
Oh, because I was like,
the instrumental is so nice. It just like floats over it.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
That is a song. Look Over Your Shoulder, and then the old song is Always Shine by Robert Glasper.
Okay, nice.
Featuring
Black
Lupe
Radio,
Fiasco
right?
and Bilal. Yeah. And Bilal, sorry.
Yeah.
From Black Radio.
Yeah.
Such a good album. If you
Life
haven't heard it
changing.
yet.
Changed my life still.
Yeah,
Not gonna
that's
lie.
me.
I mean, I got love. Even if you don't like Robert Glasper for his music, you got a line for that fucking Lauryn Hill in Z Ways. Like,
Oh yeah,
the one album he did, he didn't even do it. Like, you gotta love him for that. Like, he's sassy as fuck. Like, no, I love that guy. But yeah, cool. Me, okay. I'm gonna add Courage by Lianne Havas.
Okay.
Really like that song. Like the way she kind of. And if you haven't listened to that album, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. But like the way she kind of speaks about like kind of finding the courage to kind of move on from losing someone that you feel like was the one or that you loved. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of not even seeing courage as like an emotion, seen as a person that you're reaching out towards. Amazing song. Like, you haven't heard that, listen to that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? Like, no, honestly, like Lianne Havas is
she's great.
I don't know. And obviously homegrown talent as well from Brixton. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if you haven't tuned in already, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah. And it's gonna be 2 women this week. So the next one's gonna be I Will Be Your Friend by Sade. Diamond Life.
I know how much you love Sade.
Oh man. Diamond Life in particular. Obviously, I was listening to quite a bit of Sade the other day, but yeah, Diamond Life is. Yeah. I mean, honestly,
homegrown.
Yeah. Again, another homegrown talent. Like,
come on.
Yeah, that song. You know what it is? It's not.
She's your country folk as well. She's Nigerian.
Yeah, she's Nigerian as well. Like, no, the thing about that song, it's not even like it's a complex song. It's just the way, the beat, and the way she's speaking. It's like, damn, like, bro, am I friends with Sade now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so very caring. I feel that's. I think the good thing about Sade as well, she's very relatable in what she says. Like, whether it's even in a political sense or even just like in a regular sense, you know, songs like Frankie's First Affair or literally When Am I Gonna Make a Living? Do you know what I mean? Shit like that. It's like, no, I love shit like that. So yeah, I Will Be Your Friend. It's also the sample for Drake's Free Spirit with Rick Ross, which is obviously another banger song. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. So yeah, if you like that song, which again, Free Spirit is a fucking banger, so I don't know why you wouldn't like that. Yeah. No, yeah, you picking it up. Yeah.
That song was dope though. I didn't know that was a sample actually.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Drake just playing with the strings.
No, good thing about Drake's always ears to the streets. That's one thing I appreciate him for. Like, he's definitely got a good ear for music. So yeah. No, that's
yeah. Check out all our playlists. We've got like the new and old. We've got what else? We've got like podcast Shazam. So like, if you heard us like reference some songs today, we'll be putting that on there, and then also our Spotlight playlist as well.
And in addition to that, because we're a guest, he's also got a playlist.
Yes, he does.
Same playlist. I've heard it. It's a good playlist. Right, so yeah, go on, talk your shit. Yeah. Where can the people find you?
All right, so I'm on Instagram mainly. That's where my visual art is, and the poetry and the photography. So that's at the Fontaine Theory. Fontaine spelled Fontaine. The Fontaine Theory on Instagram. Really, I have a website as well. It's www.thefontainetheory.wordpress.com, and yeah, that's where to find me.
Yeah, very true. No, he's got some good shit. Obviously, he performed live. What was it, about a year ago?
It was about a year ago. Yeah. I was telling John I need to do more of it.
Yeah, no, it was really good, man. No, wish I could have been there. Like, no, honestly, yeah. So yeah, definitely check Ishmael. Like, you're definitely into poetry. Like, no, I definitely would recommend it, man.
Hey,
that closes out the episode. Thank you very much for listening. Again, you know, you have any questions about cars, send them into vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. Maybe you think, that guy's too serious. I don't need none of that. Let us know. I want to know what you think. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, thank you very much for listening. See you next time.
Peace.